Hey, you. Come here.
Greetings, Comic Squad. Today we have a special treat for our Marvel Universe fans, an out-of-this-world what-if story. When Robert Downey Jr. spread his arms out in the green costume to announce his return to the MCU as Dr. Doom at the San Diego Comic-Con, everyone went nuts. We were suddenly all excited about the upcoming Avengers film. Why is that? Well, it's because everyone knows Dr. Doom is the ultimate heavy-duty bad guy, and the Fantastic Four movies have never done his character complete justice. What makes Doom the definitive villain are his intriguing complexities. He's a genius scientist, a sorcerer, and a handsome billionaire, always courting Sue Storm, constantly feuding with the Thing, with the overarching ego that is the chink in his otherwise impervious armor. Any story with him is already a sensation, because he is that strong of an antagonist. And today, we have one that inspired the 2005 Fantastic Four film, What If Dr. Doom Was the Thing? What if that cosmic storm that turned the Fantastic Four into, well, the Fantastic Four, also turned Victor Von Doom into something else? In this video, we'll show you exactly how he became that something else. So lean back in the comfy seats and watch what the deadly, and as I would assume most ladies think, super hot, Dr. Doom did when he became the Thing. But before we go on, we have a tiny request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Let's start by getting acquainted with the crew that turned fantastic.
Had a little relapse, huh? Welcome back.
Who are the Fantastic Four? For those of you who may have been in a cryopod for the last several decades, you probably haven't aged a second. Lucky you. And you may still need to learn who the Fantastic Four are. Marvel's Fantastic Four are a team of superheroes, each with their own unique powers. Together, they were more like a family than a team. Well, most of them are real family, and they have their little spats and teasing games. Mr. Fantastic, or Dr. Reed Richards, is a genius scientist who is a rubbery, stretchable guy. His body can stretch to great lengths when he so wishes. Susan Storm, Reed's girlfriend, who later marries him, is the invisible girl who can create invisible force fields, and they are super strong too. Sue's brother, Johnny Storm, goes on fire, literally, and flies around pretty high and fast. Lastly, Ben Grimm is their buff college friend who's a pilot and becomes the Thing, a man whose skin appears stone-like. He has superhuman strength and durability. The Fantastic Four's identity is no secret. The public at large knows all about them and loves them.
Susan, you're fired. To think.
Who is Dr. Doom? Dr. Doom, or Victor Von Doom, first appeared in Fantastic Four issue number 5, published in 1962, created by the great Stan Lee and artist Jack Kirby. The character was born in Latveria and immersed himself in science and sorcery after his parents' passing. He later attended college in America, where he met a fellow standout student, Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic, who became his lifelong nemesis. We mentioned earlier how Doom has yet to be portrayed justly in the films. The first Fantastic Four film, directed by Tim Story, the best of the franchise so far, had Doom as the main antagonist. While Julian McMahon embodied him quite well, Doom's character sketch did not do the villain justice. He was basically a wealthy business guy who was thrown off the company's board and went bad. It completely cuts out his science genius and sorcery, which are inseparable parts of Doom. The film didn't explore the Latveria side of things, where Doom had made his kingdom. Latveria is a fictitious country from which Doom hails. By the sound of the name, it's set to feel like an Eastern European nation. But now, with a face like Robert Downey Jr. gearing up to become Dr. Doom, Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Studios, has decided to give Doom his marvelous due. The What If stories. The What If anthology that Marvel debuted in 1977 has seen about 14 series in all. What If issue number 1 was brilliant. What if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? However, the 2000s reboot of the awesome What If concept saw a bunch of standalone comics instead of a series. In 2005, we got a smashing new installment, What If Dr. Doom Was the Thing? created by Carl Kessel and Paul Smith. What If Doctor Doom Was the Thing can be credited in part with inspiring the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, which we briefly discussed earlier. The movie opens with a similar setting, Susan and Johnny Storm and Reed Richards going into outer space with Victor Von Doom and catching the cosmic storm that gives them their powers. The What If version, however, excludes Ben Grimm from this question, but he clobbers his way into the story later on. What If Doctor Doom Was the Thing storyline. College Days. The story is a revised version of the Fantastic Four origins. The cover art is decent, the Thing's playing peekaboo behind Doctor Doom's iron mask, although the mask looks a tad small for the Thing's face. The story starts with Reed Richards and Ben Grimm kicking it on the college lawn, talking about Susan Storm, or Susie, and how Reed's got to make their affair official already. It's pretty clear that Susie and Reed are already a thing, and that Jonathan Storm, or Johnny, Susie's younger brother, is keeping her busy. Reed and Ben visit their classmate Victor's room. Ben thinks Victor is weird and wants to avoid seeing the guy, but Reed insists. Victor has been missing classes for his private projects and is on the verge of getting expelled. His room is stacked with books and papers. Reed curiously picks up a paper from his desk just as Victor appears from an adjoining room, making Ben jump with a start. Unbeknownst to his visitors, he had converted the adjoining room into a full-fledged laboratory. Victor believes that Reed and Ben were snooping around his stuff, which is very similar to the original story in the erstwhile issues. Reed points out that he has a miscalculation on the third differential right before Victor throws them out of his room. Later on, though, he realizes Reed was right. While Ben and Reed mess around some more before class, Reed expresses his admiration for Victor, who is working on some astounding concepts. Ben doesn't think Victor can hold a candle to Reed. Suddenly, Ben is startled by Victor again. Victor breaks up Reed and Ben's party by enticing Reed away with a conversation about dimensional subspace, and Ben watches them go. This particular sketch signifies a change. Reed cozies up with Victor for some intellectual stimulation, leaving his best friend behind, and so they drift apart. Here we see some differences from the original story, in which Victor never lends Reed an ear and is forever a fierce and bitter rival. It's actually fun to watch the sweet hero and crazy villain bond over their love for science. Space Adventure, The Making of Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four. The story leaps forward by 5 years. Reed, Victor, Susan, and Johnny are aboard a spacecraft, Storm Rider, which Reed and Victor designed. As they clink champagne glasses, Victor gives a little speech. He seems hungry for the wonderful opportunities a successful spaceflight would open up for them, and also a little excited about becoming a star. Von Doom is still a complete jerk who wants to tear down just about everyone around him. As Sue points out, he chose the launch date for the same day Ben Grimm was due to get his shine. Ben, who had joined the army and excelled in it, was now heading the security detail for a high-profile government experiment to create an alternative energy source. Also, when Johnny offers to lend a hand with the craft, Victor points out that aside from an innate ability to be supremely annoying, he has yet to detect any useful skills that Johnny has. That's mean and a little funny. And this wouldn't be the last time Von Doom tossed a sarcastic remark at his old college mates. Victor also makes a move on Susie when Reed is busy getting the spacecraft ready. When Sue refuses him, he lashes out, reminding her that he has twice as much power, prestige, and wealth as Reed. Susan walks away, telling him that Reed would not need his money for his experiments after this moon trip. Victor sneers as she leaves. He comments that everything was about to change. Reed and Victor pilot the spacecraft, and they go off into outer space. And here comes the cosmic rays all Fantastic Four fans were waiting for. Reed thinks the craft's shields have got them covered, but he soon realizes that's not the case. Neon green rays flood the craft's interior. Then Victor sheds his snakeskin and goes into full savage mode. He tells Reed he knew his shields wouldn't work because there's an error in his calculations. While he told nobody nothing about this, he built himself a protective armor, which, surprisingly, he already has on now. And we're left wondering, when did he put this thing on? Well, no one knows, but we do know Victor wanted them all to die so he could take all the credit for the space ride. It makes one wonder why Victor was so excited at the beginning with all that giddy speech about the mission's success. Why did he bother to hit on Susie at all if he wanted her dead or knew the mission was going to go bust? There are some loose threads in the story here. Anyway, the craft loses steam and falls back to Earth, somewhere in a rocky desert near the US military testing site. Unfortunately for Victor, his compatriots are still alive. Reed, Susan, and Johnny hobble out of the crash, and their cosmic reinstated powers kick in. Johnny comes up in flames, Reed's arms are stretched out clay dough, and Sue feels paper thin. Not to forget Victor, who has the backfire plan of the century. Seeing him stuck inside his armor, still stewing in cosmic rays while the others are all aired out, is so satisfying. He blames the whole thing on Reed, of course. Insufferable as he always is, he's about to get worse. His armor is getting too small for his expanding body mass, and he blows it. And he's hidden behind a pile of rocks in the desert. Or, wait a minute, he is the pile of rocks. He is the Thing. Victor disappears inside the broken Storm Rider, where he finds a massive green cloth and a jetpack that just happen to be lying around the spaceship. Why is there a jetpack on a spaceship? I know you guys have some theories. Do put them down in the comments. So wearing the mask broken out of his armor and that green cloth around him, Victor, who is officially Dr. Doom now, comes out of the debris swinging. He uses the jetpack to send Reed flying a bit of distance, and people at the military testing site begin to take notice. The Thing versus the Hulk. There's a gamma reactor experiment on which Sergeant Ben Grimm gives the go-ahead, and Dr. Banner gets it going. Yes, it's the Dr. Banner. We also know and love Anger. But as the nuclear reaction starts, the team notices Reed flying towards the reactor. The entire team is in knots, and without General Ross's permission, Ben runs off outside to the reactor to handle it. The reaction has already begun and cannot be shut down. He gets to the reactor, picks Reed up, and runs with his strung-out limbs flying around him like ribbons. Just as the reactor is about to blow, Ben shoves Reed behind a small hill but ends up getting exposed to the green rays himself. While he's still on the ground, reeling from the effects of the rays, Victor shows up. Yeah, we were beginning to miss him there for a while. He shoots Reed with the jetpack blast again. Ben, who's watching his old mate get blown around while his body stretches out like a giant chewing gum, begins to get a little angry. So his eyes get green, then his whole body goes green, and he turns into, any guesses? The Hulk on Clobber Time. It's the Hulk versus the Thing, a nice big guy on big guy showdown. They throw and pound each other, creating more jetpack fire, and all this is happening while the Doom Thing is talking crazy about how good he is and how dumb the Hulk is. When the desert's milieu has been sufficiently desecrated, the Hulk tells Doom his secret. Maybe Doom is not smart like he thinks. What the Green Man of Few Words is trying to say is that the madder the Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. He smashes Doom into the ground and then raises a giant rock to bury him 600 feet under it. But Reed stops him just in time. Unfortunately, he only got the Hulk on his case instead of Dr. Doom. Johnny comes into action, flying around a light, undoing the Hulk as he tries to get Reed. Susan takes Reed inside her energy field, which sets the Hulk back. But as the Hulk prepares to fling another rock, Reed changes the playing field. He goes to the Hulk calmly and reminds him of who he is. He tries to talk directly to Ben, knowing that he's in there somewhere under the green mass of anger, reminding him of their friendship. And Ben comes back. As he transforms into his real self, he's struck by what he has become. Reed tells him that he'll find a cure for them. He remembers their years together and what's really important in his life. Johnny notices that Doom has peeled himself off the ground and jetpacked away. Much too quickly, the four realize that they can help mankind with their new powers, and that even without Victor's money, they will find a way to rebuild Reed's lab. They join hands, calling it all fantastic, and the name is born. The Fantastic Four. The story ends with a splash page with Ben Grimm's Hulk standing out in the crowd of the Fantastic Four's protagonists and villains. Marvelous verdict. This what-if story has a cool twist. It has all the elements of an engaging comic, starting with an exciting origin story, Victor becoming Dr. Doom and the Thing in one package, and then the ultimate Hulk versus the Thing fight. The story moves away from Doom at several junctures in the comic, but is still a fun read overall. While it would have been intriguing to explore this storyline more with subsequent issues, I do like Victor Von Doom as he is. He's a pretty perfect bad guy with an articulate yet mean tongue, a sorcerer and scientist with a story that dates Doctor Strange's. And his hatred for the Fantastic Four has a collegiate history, which always adds emotion to the comic book's plots. No wonder he's been reprised time and again for the movie adaptations. And you know what's crazy? Robert Downey Jr. will play Dr. Doom after his amazing stint as Iron Man, so he will end up playing both characters. And in comics, Dr. Doom absolutely hates Iron Man. It'll be interesting to see if the two characters clash in the Doomsday film. To end the video, we hope that Dr. Doom's character will ascend to its full potential in the Avengers movie with the former Iron Man in tow. That's it from us, guys. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Bye for now. Take good care.